Hello everyone, and welcome in this new video. Today I would like to give you a quick overview on the new blueprint mechanism that I am currently implementing in the NervLab application. So this is the application that you have on screen currently, and in case you've seen that, I already made a previous video on this, and this was actually working just fine. You could also have this application in your browser, in fact, and you could use the menu that you have here to manipulate an input image that you could provide from your local disk. Point is, I didn't really like the mechanism, and I mentioned that in the initial video itself. In fact, I wanted to build something which is more flexible and which is using this kind of blueprint system where you could add multiple nodes to perform different transformation on your image, and you could chain those nodes so that the first transformation would be executed before the second one, and so on. So here we are. Currently it's pretty minimal. Actually, I only have those two nodes. So this is your output node, and this is what you could call a source node, because this is where you can provide your source image, and that's all. You don't really have the possibility to perform any kind of transformation yet, but it took me a lot of time to build this already, so I really think I should make an initial overview on that, because otherwise I'm going to wait until the complete system is ready, and that could take months again. So yep, what I need to mention again is, yes, in the display menu you had this control panel, and this was the initial interface that you could use to manipulate your image. Currently it's probably completely broken. I didn't even try to change anything, but if I try something, it might just crash the application. Yep, actually it did. So not good. We don't want to do that. Let's just restart the app. Okay, so I just restarted, and as I said, I'm not going to touch this interface anymore because the mechanism is completely different now, so this part is not working. What is cool now is that the display that we have here is controlled by the output node here. So this node is actually generating this display, and I think I should at the same time show you some of the code. So the what is the initial entry we should use? Maybe we should start with the blueprint. So we now have this blueprint class, and the blueprint is basically just a container for the moment, and in this container you would have a list of nodes, actually a map of nodes, because you have IDs, unique IDs for each of those nodes. And well, we don't really see the blueprint here, but here we basically have a blueprint as a container, and we have those two nodes inside the blueprint. And where did I construct that? I guess it's in the NervLab. Blueprint equals something. Yeah, that's the point where I'm building the blueprint, and then I'm adding a node here, which is the image source node, and also then the output node. Except that for the output node, the case is a bit more complex, because you have to also support an event on this node. This is another mechanism which is pretty interesting. On the blueprint, for instance, here you can define an event, and in this case the event is this save output image, and there is a function assigned to this event. I could actually assign multiple functions to this event, and when this event is triggered on the blueprint, you're going to call this out node save image function. And later on, in fact, I have redirected the initial save image from the NervLab to emit this event, which means that here we have this save image menu entry, and it's actually going to trigger the save image from this output node. So this one here is still working normally. Another thing next then is we can actually save the image directly with this small button here. Maybe we could show you the output node definition for that. So yeah, the other important concept, I guess, here is you have to actually try to separate your blueprint nodes from the widget or the GUI which is displaying this node. So we have this blueprint output node which is completely independent from the display that we have here for this output node, because typically there are cases where you would like to build a blueprint with multiple nodes, or you would like to load this blueprint, I guess, from some file or whatever, and you don't really need to display that on screen. You just want to actually use the blueprint for something. I mean, I guess that's how it's supposed to work in the Unreal Engine or something like that. I'm not very familiar with that, so that's just the idea that I'm going to use here. Which means then that we have this blueprint node, and on as a side class we also have this output window class, which is built as a generic window, which is another system which I built in parallel to be able to display any kind of window. I made a quick recording on this topic the last time. No, I didn't. It was another topic. Never mind. So yeah, this is another mechanism, another part of the library which is allowing me to build any kind of window in a similar way to what we can do with Qt. So you have the output window here, which is the G window, and then you can have a layout, a vertical layout, and then a horizontal layout. Not sure why I have the vertical layout anyway, because I only have one row here, so the horizontal layout would have been enough. But anyway, and then what do I do in there? I create a pin. So that's again the graphical widget corresponding to the pin class, which itself is part of the blueprint subsystem. So yeah, we're separating those two again. And then you have this label and a button that you can press, and when you press this button, then you're going to again call this save image from the output node object. The output node itself is responsible for creating the widget, and this is happening when you are assigning a screen to your blueprint, and in this case the blueprint will trigger the construction of all the required visual elements to display the nodes, connection between the node, and so on. But yeah, that's not really the point I wanted to focus on for the moment, so let's maybe not go too deep in this part. What did I wanted to mention? Yeah, the save image maybe. So where do we have that? Save image here is just going to download the texture data that you have in your canvas, in fact, because the output node is controlling the texture that it's going to be displayed in the canvas. So it's downloading this data and then requesting the UI component to write the file, which is going to write a regular file normally in the native version of the application, and otherwise it's going to delegate that to the JavaScript part if you are building the application with unscripted. Okay, and then when you are executing this, that's another part which is maybe interesting. So when you're executing the output node, this is in fact now where we are going to build the display itself, so the part that we have here underneath the nodes. In fact, another layer of complexity that I should mention is that when you render the canvas itself, you can have multiple canvas layers. So you have the layer 0 here, which is displaying the image, and on top of that you have the layer 1, which is containing those nodes. So that's why the nodes will always be on top of the image itself. So here we do prepare the rendering of the rectangle here, which is used to display the final image. Where do we do that? First we actually prepare the image itself, I guess. Yep, you need to retrieve that either from the input assigned to the output node. So you can assign an input here with this pin, and if there's no connection on this pin, you're simply going to create a simple checkerboard, which is what we have on screen right now. We have this checkerboard with white and gray color. Okay, so you create this texture, and then you have to copy this texture into the canvas image atlas itself. So you might need to remove the previous texture. You might also need to resize the canvas, the atlas, sorry, if the size is not correct, and otherwise you can go on and add the image, and that's it basically. And after that, here you only just allocating the area in the texture atlas, and that's where you're actually doing the copy of the data. Next, we compute the display box, which is going to tell you what is the area on screen here that you should use for the object display, so the rectangle display. And after that, you finally create your rectangle and you assign it the image you want to display. Okay, next we also have, as I said, this image source node, and in fact this one is behaving in a similar way to the output node, which is that when there's no image selected, it's still going to provide you with an output on this pin, and this output is going to be a simple checkerboard like this one also, except that the color that I'm using here are actually white and red. So we can just have a quick look on this one. So image source. So that's a part creating the GUI, the display for the image source, and we also have the node itself afterwards. And when you do execute this node, it's going to check if you have already loaded a texture or not, and if it's not the case, that's where you want to create this checkerboard, and it's using white and red. And next cool thing then is, as soon as you try to link this input node to the output node will be updated to actually display what it's receiving as an input. So you see that now you have this red checkerboard which is coming from this node, and if you disconnect this, then you're back to the default display, so the default texture that you get in the output node. Okay, and of course you can go a bit further than that, because you can now select the input file that you want from here, and let's just try to select a file quickly. Image, no, with photo, let's go with Death Stranding and whatever. Okay, and now you see that as soon as I load a file here, it's going to be propagated to the output node. Oh, that's funny, the image was not updated here. Okay, a small bug, I need to work on that. So the small disk here was not visible. And okay, so now you have this display, and if you disconnect again, you get back to the previous checkerboard, and if you reconnect that, you get the image loaded again. And yep, that's basically it for the moment. That's all we have. Next step would be to add support for additional nodes here that I could use in between, for instance, to control whatever we have here, like the blur effect, hue, saturation value, brightness, and so on. So I'll be building a few of those additional nodes, and then I will make another video as soon as I think there's something interesting to add on this topic. Thank you for watching, and as usual, if you have any question or any suggestion, just let me know in the comments, and otherwise I'll see you next time. Bye bye.